Hello, welcome to Camp Miva. Most of you, all of you know me. If you don't, my name is Nick Adkins. I'm the technical training and development director here at Miva. I basically help our agencies and developers learn the Miva ecosystem, learn how to use it, and also give them resources to better use the Miva ecosystem as well. I'm going to go ahead and get my notes up here so that I remember everything that I want to say. So on the agenda today, we are going to talk about Flex builders. Managing a storefront is endlessly balancing flexibility, maintainability, and all that can be done using page builder Flex components. We're going to first talk about what a Flex component is, how it's built, and then we're going to have a live demo. I'm going to try to do some coding on here. I don't have a mouse, so bear with me, or my normal keyboard, but I think that by the end of this, what we'll have is a really, really basic, simple Flex component that will give you guys the guidance to further make it better and better. And then in the next hackathon session, I plan on updating that just a little bit more and adding another dynamic feature to it. So this one will first be just your basic Flex component that we'll be building. Okay, I'm way far on my notes right there. All right. Let's talk about Flex components. So what are they? They are reusable, configurable elements for page builder. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my, here we go. As a developer, why do we use Flex components? Because they're a maintainable code base. So instead of adding like one-off hard-coded elements using ready-themed content sections or anything like that, you can create a reusable component that can work consistently across multiple stores, multiple projects. Once you build a component, it can, like I said, it can be used across multiple stores with just minor adjustments. With the introduction of our theme editor, coming up here soon, you'll be able to even take that a step further and have this component and then create different themes for this very easily using XML or anything like that as far as the developer standpoint goes. And you have, it's easier to manage the store for the store owners. So by using configurable inputs in your Flex component, it allows non-technical users to be able to go in there and adjust things really easily and less work on you for doing the little things as far as that goes. So let's take a real world example. So say we need a custom product showcased, right? The traditional approach would be you create your page template, you go in there and you edit the code on that page template, and then if you needed to style it, you need to go look for those resources in the CSS resources. If some JavaScript need to be added, you would go and do that. Whereas with a Flex component, you just define its structure in the flex.json, you add any of the JavaScript or CSS there within that package it all up, and then you can just deploy it on any site for anybody to use. With the second approach, with the page builder approach, it really gives your merchants more flexibility to customize what they want and make it how they want it to be. Okay, so let's talk about an actual Flex component. Here is a handy dandy diagram of what a Flex component consists of. But at the end of the day, the main driving force of a Flex component is your Flex component configuration file, which is a JSON file. It's the brain of the Flex component. It defines how the component's going to appear in Page Builder. It defines what properties it's allowed to accept and what scripts and templates are linked to it as well. Here are some of the key properties of it is that it defines the component name, version, category. It specifies input properties like text fields, drop downs, images, and it links the templates up as well to have everything cohesive within one spot. Also contained in the Flex component, you have JavaScript, CSS, an initialization template, and an instance template. Technically, you can create a Flex component with a simple initialization template. With an instance template and a flex.json. Technically, that's all you need in order to create a Flex component. It might not be very dynamic and that might not be usable, but really at the bulk of it, those are the two files that you need. The instance template is going to be what is outputted as far as the the syntax or the template, right? So like if you have a product card that you're building, the instance template would have the code to display the image that they selected. It would have the code to display the product title name that they chose in the Flex component settings. The initialization template, it gets pulled in one time, so per component. So say you have 2 or 3 product card components on your page, the instance template is only going to be pulled in, the initialization template is only going to be pulled in one time. The instance template will be pulled in every single time that component's on the page. So that way, what the initialization template does is it allows you to add any CSS or JavaScript that is specific to your component. So when this loads, the initialization template will load. It will load in your JavaScript. It will load in any pre-stuff that you need to load in. And then your instance template will load after that, pulling in that data. These are the basics of creating a Flex component. If you go and you export one of our Flex components that are already in there, you'll see that it is the JavaScript and the initialization template and the instant template are very detailed and advanced. And that's because we're using our own framework. It's called MMX framework. And essentially what that is, it's a web component framework that allows you to, if you're using our MMX framework, it gives you tools to validate. It gives you tools to it gives you snippets of code where you can easily use those things and not have to rewrite it. So if you have a property that tells someone to put a phone number in it, and you need to sanitize that phone number so they're not putting letters in it or anything else like that, our MMX framework will give you functions to use and things like that that are already built in the framework to better optimize that workflow. That is probably more of an advanced way of using it, and we won't be going over any of that today. However, at the end of this month, March 31st, we will be having a webinar in the Miva Masterclass series that will go over building a Flex component, and it will show you how to integrate the MMX components as well. If anybody needs a link to that, come see me afterwards, and I will make sure I send you the link to sign up for that webinar. All right, let's do it. Live demo time. This component that I'm going to build is already available. If you go to our GitHub page, we have a Flex components repository, and there's a Flex component in there called basic component. And that's exactly what I'm building today. So if you wanted to review that code, or if you wanted to just look at the code while I do it live, that is probably recommended. If you wanted to try to do what I'm doing while I'm doing it live, you're welcome to do that. But I'm going to be doing a lot of copying and pasting because there's quite a bit of code. But if you go to our, like I said, go to our GitHub. It's Miva Ecommerce is our GitHub. We have a Flex components repository where you can find this basic component. All right. Okay, I am going to be working sideways. So enjoy. Okay, I have VS Code here. If you're not using some sort of code editor, I would strongly recommend using VS Code. We have a plugin for VS Code for our syntax highlighting that will help you complete Miva template language a lot easier. You can search it in the extensions for VS Code, but if you're not using VS Code, I would strongly recommend it. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to create our folder. We're just going to go in here and do it the easy way and create a new folder and call it basic. I already have one, obviously, but we're going to do this different. We'll do example component. All right. Now, since I have my component, I need to create my files. So the first one that I'm going to create is my Flex file. I'm just going to do this the easy way, like I said, instead of doing it through a command line tool, flex.json. All right, so I have my flex.json file. We're going to start off by just getting the basic settings that we need. So I'm going to, like I said, cheat, and then I'm going to explain them all to you. It's a little smaller too. Oh, that looks a lot better. All right. So This is a very basic version of the flex.json. You'll see that the required elements are things like code, name, type. So we have a couple different types. There's a component and then there's a library. Our MMX framework uses the library type. And if you use a library type, it's essentially not something that you would see when you're in Page Builder. It's something that your component can use. So we have this MMX library base function file that has all those sanitization functions that I was talking about. But we're going to start off with just a component. We're going to say manage false. All of these properties are defined in the documentation, by the way, and all the extra properties that you need are in there as well. Manage just lets us know whether or not the component is going to be updated by Miva or not. So we're going to go ahead and say false because we're not going to have it managed. If you did not want your customers to edit this or update it or edit any of the template code, then you would turn that manage to false to true. You just would not have the availability to update the template code within MMT. Side note, if anyone is using MMT, all of these templates are viewable within our MMT command line tool. So you can pull down all these instant templates, these CSS files and everything like that locally, work on them and push them right back up using MMT. If you need any more information about that, please come talk to me. After we have the basic stuff, we have our properties. So as we said before, the properties is what really controls what is in the Flex component. It lets the front end user change whatever you need to do. This one, we have a simple text type property. This will add just a text input. The prompt will say display text, and we're just going to give it the code of text. There's also another section down here called defaults, where you can add default values to the properties as well. And this one just has a default value that says this is the default text. Once we get this all packaged up and upload it, you'll see this in action, and it will make a little bit more sense too. Okay, let's continue on. Now, since we have our Flex file, we need to create our other templates, our instance template and our initialization template. So the first thing we are going to do is create a folder within here and call this templates so that we are very well organized. And we're going to create another file and call this instance.nvt. And we are going to create even another one and call this init.nvt. So this is our instance file and our init file. We do not have these linked up in our flex.json yet. We will do that later. I just wanted to create the files first. So let's start off with our init, which I am on. So our initialization template, as I mentioned before, is only going to pull in one time when that Flex component is added. So if you have a bunch of different Flex components in there, it's only going to be added one time. For our initialization template, we are going to want to include our CSS and our JavaScript that we will be creating later as well. So what we're going to do is we are going to add our CSS and JavaScript via our CSS and JavaScript resources. So using the MVT item with the name of head, you can add the parameters of whatever files you're going to be adding. So in this case, I'll be adding my CSS file named exbasic, and I'll be adding my JavaScript file named exbasic. You don't need to go and upload these files via the admin. This is all packaged together, and when you upload the package, it will do all that for you. Okay, so now that we have that saved, I guess let's do our instance template. So our instance template is going to be a lot, I guess it's not a lot less code. Let's go back to here. Oh, darn it. I thought I knew the shortcut. All right, so there's my instance template. I'm going to paste this in here. Okay, so what you see here, we just have simple HTML on here. We have a class called example basic just to style it. We'll see how we style it in the CSS. But you'll see that I have the entity of instance : text : value. So how the Flex components work is in your properties, you'll remember that in our property here, we gave this property a code of text. And if you look in the instance template here, we have our instance structure. Within that structure, every code has its own structure. So since we called our property text, text is going to be the next thing that shows up. And if I'm looking for the value of it, it's going to be value. This part right here is just a simple output of the instance array, serialized, so we can see what all those values are. I am actually going to remove this so we can see it without it being commented out. Okay, any questions so far on the instance or the init? We're good. All right, hopefully everybody's tracking. Let's come back over to here. Now that we have our instance template and our init template, before we go and we add those to our flex.json file, we will create our CSS and JavaScript in a similar fashion. So we'll go back to here and we will create another folder and we will call this one CSS. And I will add a file, call this exbasic.css. And then up here, I'm going to create another folder, call it JavaScript, and add my file called exbasic.js. So I have my two files created. Now, since I have them created, let's go ahead and add some simple JavaScript and CSS to this. What am I on? I'm on the... Here's my CSS. So the CSS, I'm just calling out that CSS and I'm just adding some simple CSS so we can see it work. We'll also be adding some JavaScript. JavaScript here. The JavaScript, I'm just adding a simple console log so we can see the iterator number for the current element. And if I add more flex components, you'll see that the more I add, this number will go up. As I mentioned at the beginning, this implementation is really, really basic, right? Like our MMX flex components use HTML web components, and it keeps them in a shadow DOM. And there's a lot more going on with them, so they makes them a little bit more complicated. But the point of this session is to let you know that flex components at its core are really basic, and then you can expand it and make it as advanced as you want to make it. All right. Now, since we have all of our files completed, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these. Save it. Save it. Save it. All right, and I'm back at my flex. I'm going to close this one too. We won't be editing those anymore. Am I good on time? Ooh, what time does the session end? I have 4 minutes. Oh, all right, I'll go fast. All right, so let's add our styles real quick here and our scripts to our JSON. So this section, you can add these sections anywhere really. I'm gonna add a comma here to make sure that's good. But as you can see with my styles, all I'm doing is I'm adding the file path to it so that it knows where these type of things are. And I did my styles, I did my scripts. I did not add my initialization template, did I? Make sure I have all of that. Oh, I don't. Me. Well, I'm short on time. I could do it. I know I can. This is what I want. All right. This is going to be your final look of it. And like I said, this is available on our GitHub. But you'll see down here, I've added some more things as far as the attributes for my component. Here is my initialization template. Here's where I'm creating a resource group that ties these. So once this is all packaged up and in the system, it will create all of those things for you. All right, so let's finish up here, get you guys the final stuff. So once you're all done and you've finished it all, it's just a matter of packaging it all up. So you can use any type of software you want to do this, but using command line, let's see if I have to get into the folder. What do I call it? Example component. So using the tar function in your command line, you should be able to create your component. And finally, we go and we upload it. We can see it in action. Let's go to here. Let's go to my store. Oh, it's going to ask me for that. Oh, I knew it. Bummer. I haven't, but you guys have to wait a couple minutes. Good thing that I'm in this room and I have the next session as well. So going to user interface, flex components, upload my component. Now let's find it. Oh, we're going to use the one I made before because I know it works. Oh, nope, I'm not. Oh, here. Cross your fingers, everybody. Oh, I knew it. Oh, probably have a spelling error in there somewhere. I probably named this incorrectly. I still have the file though. Let me show you the other one just so you guys can see it in action because I think it's important they see it. Let me do one thing. Sorry. We will restore that. All right, let's go back to here and let's upload the good one. If I go back to this, there it is. There we go. And then when you go to content management, we'll just put it on the About Us page and we will add our components. It'll be at the top, at the bottom. There it is. And then if we go back, we can see it in action. We'll move it up. So there's your basic component. See that it updates automatically. So, I mean, like I said, I think that the main thing to take away from this is that your components don't need to be super advanced and have HTML web components included in them. They can be as simple as just a little bit of HTML, some Miva template code, and some JavaScript. And I think that is how you import it. Next time, we will extend it by adding an option to select a product and then show some information and pull information about that product in the Hackathon 2 section. Make sure you use MMT if you're using it as well. These are some ideas that you can create using your Flex components. It's endless out there. Somebody came up to me today and asked me about the Google Maps module to do like a store locator, and that's like a perfect thing for a Flex component, right? Like you could just make a Flex component and tell people to just throw it up there, fill out some settings in there, and boom, you got it. So the possibilities are endless as far as what is available for Flex components.